I would say, vote of trust from his Jewish colleagues, because he became chairman of Jewish caucus, and it's not like someone appointed him or the president appointed him. His colleagues voted, Jewish colleagues voted for him to become a chairman of Jewish caucus of New York City Council, and also he was appointed by new council speaker Corey Johnson. He is now chairman of Veterans Committee, which is very important in New York City and in 45th Assembly District. He's also member of several other important committees, like Land Use Committee and some others. And what I noticed in the last, even before I noticed, but like now it's even more, leaders of this city, both mayor and council speaker, when they make decisions, they take advice of Councilman Chaim Deutsch very seriously, and they know he doesn't take no for an answer. All commissioners, you know, like, no Councilman Chaim Deutsch, like if he's calling from the office, and his office is one of the most effective in New York City. In fact, I recently called Congressman Hakeem Jeffries' office and said, oh, you're good. And I said, no, everybody knows. Councilman Chaim Deutsch office is the best in New York City. We're trying to be second, you know. Like, so it's not just like me saying this, but some other offices, including congressional offices, know this fact. Long story short, Councilman Chaim Deutsch.
Thank you, thank you. I'm not sure what to say just on my speech. Anyway, it did take 4 years for the city council to realize that I'm Jewish. So they finally voted me in to be the chair of the Jewish caucus.
You should wear a red yarmulke.
Yeah, no, the problem is my height. You don't see my yarmulke. Anyway, there's a lot of work that we do in the city council, a lot of work still that needs to be done. And like Ari mentioned, we have a new speaker, so that how it works is that the majority of the members who elects a person running for the speaker, the office of the speaker, he or she becomes the next speaker. So Councilman Corey Johnson, who represents Hell's Kitchen, Times Square, doesn't sound right, Hell's Kitchen, Times Square, and that area, Madison Square Garden, that whole Manhattan area, so he became the speaker of the city council. Yes, so I have, I'm the chair of the Veterans Committee. I'm very excited about it. I have a lot of veterans in my district, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done with veterans. And like, I'll give you an example. One of the things that I sent a letter today to DOE, and I met with the Department of Education today, that when a student, when a parent applies for their son or daughter to attend school, there's nothing in there that states if that child is a child of a veteran. Because there's so many services that a child of a veteran can receive, and there's the scholarships for their education, for college, and people don't know. And even the social workers within the public school, they have no idea. So the first thing we need to do is identify how many children, because there's no statistics right now, we need to identify how many children are in public schools, are in schools that are children of veterans, right? So we need to do that. So I sent a letter, and I asked my colleague, Councilman Mark Traeger, who became chair of the Education Committee, to sign on to my letter, which will be sent today to the Deputy Chancellor, and hopefully we'll see positive results from it. It's a no-brainer. And this way we could, once we identify how many children are children of veterans, then we could tell them what the services are available to them by having the people in the schools, the social workers, explain to them exactly what services are available. There's also a new online website that's going to be coming out. It's going to be called Vet Connect, and that's going to have every service available for veterans in our city. So that's going to be available. And in addition to that, veterans receive real estate property exemptions, but people that rent apartments, they don't receive. So we have currently, we have SCREE, DREE, SHE, D, we have all types of Ds, SHEs, and everything, but I put in the bill to have 3 veterans rent increase exemption to that. The threshold should be the same, the income threshold at $50,000, and to freeze the rent for veterans who rent apartments. So that's a bill I put in the City Council a few weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to positive results for that.
And I know you have a very interesting definition of veterans. You mentioned several times at several events about veterans of Cold War.
So you have veterans that were in combat, and then you have veterans that are under the status of Cold War veterans. So the people who are under the status of Cold War veterans who weren't actually in combat, they don't receive the same tax exemption real estate as the people that were in combat. So I have a bill in the council that will expand it to anyone under the status of Cold War veterans.
So you're talking about
this will help thousands of
U.S.
veterans.
Army, the people who served in the American Army during the Cold War with the Soviet Union.
Exactly.
That's what you're talking about?
Exactly. So this I'm looking to expand this.
That's called veterans. Cold War veterans.
So in addition to that, in addition to the Veterans Committee, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, the Education Committee, Aging Committee, Public Safety Committee, Land Use Committee, Concessions and Dispositions, and what else am I missing? I'm new at this one. Oh, Aging and Education. So I have all the great committees that help our district and help people in the city of New York, and I'm very proud, and many of these committees have very long hearings, so I will still try to get back to you in a timely manner if you reach out to me. But they are very like the land use committees could last for hours at a time. So it's very exciting, and we already started doing a lot of work. In addition to that, my first hearing in the Veterans Committee will be at a veterans homeless shelter. We're going to be going out to the homeless shelter, and that's our request. They tell me, oh, we can't do that because we can't publicize an address. So I went on Google. I found it.
Of course.
So I called them back, I said, you have it on Google. So finally they agreed, after discouraging me from going to having the hearing at the veterans homeless shelter. That's what I'll be having, and that's going to be in the beginning of April. You know, it's nice when you sit at hearings in the city council and visualizing what a homeless shelter might look like, but I want the members of the committee, the members of the public, who come to these hearings and the stakeholders to know what goes on at a shelter. My goal over the next year is to take all these homeless people that are in shelters and put them into regular livable apartments. I know the mayor has 60,000 homeless people. I have a lot less, and I will be a model to the mayor. And I just hung up a few minutes ago with the commissioner of HRA, Steve Banks. I had about a half-hour conversation, otherwise I would have been here sooner, about certain things that I'm doing regarding to reduce homelessness. And one of the things I just mentioned to him, I had a conversation with him now on the phone, is that a lot of landlords have buildings throughout the city. There may be drug infested, there may be people loitering, you know, there's a number of different issues. Try getting a hold of narcotics to sit in your building. Almost impossible. So we will go out and form a special task force within the New York City Police Department to tackle those issues in those buildings. In return, you're going to give me apartments for veterans who are homeless. You do that, we're going to send in our task force and take care of those problems. In order to do that, we'll form a certain task force. So we're going to do a model, we're going to do a pilot project. We're going to take 2 or 3 buildings, see how it works. But my goal over the next year or 2 is to have all the veteran homeless people living in shelters, take them out of shelters and put them into apartments. Then we could free up those shelters for other homeless categories of people, of the 60,000 people.
And I know that in the last 4 years, City Council also created Office of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, so we have an Office of Veterans Affairs, we have a commissioner who runs the Office of Veterans Affairs, and I already had over the last 4 weeks several meetings with the commissioner. I went out to reach out to veterans in all 5 boroughs, so it's been very exciting. A lot of work still needs to be done. On another note, I'm proud to say that a few weeks ago I was able to dismiss parking tickets that people received throughout all 5 boroughs of the city. Very simple. From beginning January 1st up until January 15th, there was 12 days that the administration, sanitation, suspended street cleaning regulations, which meant that if you see street cleaning, let's say from 9:30 to 11, right? Let's say Monday, Thursday, whatever the days you have. So for 12 days out of from the 1st to the 15th, they were suspended. It means 12 days the city suspended it, which meant you were allowed to park in those areas that have street cleaning. In commercial areas, the same thing. But the administration tells you that you have to pay for the meters, you have to pay for the muni meters. But if you take a look throughout the city in commercial areas, let's say you have street cleaning in commercial areas where there are muni meters. Let's say there's no parking from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. During that hour and a half, you ever try using an app or a credit card or putting in a quarter? It will not accept it because these muni meters are pre-programmed. So during these suspensions, and the city says you have to pay for meters, I decided to walk out and to go visit some of these meters that are not operating during this hour and a half to see if people are receiving summonses, right? Because you cannot get a ticket, you cannot get a receipt for your car. So the first 10 minutes, I see this lady getting a ticket from a traffic agent, $35. So I walked over to her, I identified myself, she's from Sunset Park. I said, don't worry, we're going to fight that ticket. So I reached out to Traffic Department, I reached out to the Department of Finance, I reached out to Department of Transportation, and when I explained to them what's going on, they said, oh, we really never thought of that. So I received a letter from the Department of Transportation that anyone throughout the city, from January 1st to January 15th, that received a summons, such a summons, will get dismissed. You will get a letter from DOT that it's their fault, their problem, and the Department of Finance said we will have that dismissed. But not just now. So now we need to do what's going to happen in the future, because these meters are pre-programmed. In order to change it when street cleaning regulations are suspended, they physically have to go to each meter and change it, which they're not going to do. So now they'll be going to roll call in all traffic agents, and over here in Brooklyn South, it's Ralph Avenue. They're going to speak to every traffic agent and explain it and telling them that you cannot issue a summons in these areas in all 5 boroughs. So anyone in the future, hopefully it's not going to happen because we're going to be monitoring it, but if it should happen, those tickets shouldn't be issued and they will be dismissed automatically. So you shouldn't be getting those summonses. On another note, a lot of things happening in my office. We still have free legal 4 days a week. We have entitlement 2 days a week. So if anyone feels that they're entitled to city services that they may not know, or if you're unsure, call up my office, set an appointment, and you'll come inside and we'll let you know, with my casework, we'll let you know what city services you may be entitled to, whether it's SNAP or any other city services that are available to you. In addition to that, as you know, we had a tragic fire in our district, and we still have a father and one child still in the hospital. The second child was released last week, and the mother and 3 kids perished in the fire. So if you remember back in 2000, just about 2 years ago, in 2015 March, there was a tragic fire in our district on Bedford Avenue between L and M.
I remember that.
Where 7 young brothers and sisters tragically died in the fire. So I had an initiative in the city council which was called Get Along NYC. So my initiative was a $1 million initiative, and in addition to my $1 million that I was able to allocate for smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, I was able to get from the manufacturer of Kidda, is the manufacturer of the smoke alarms. They gave an additional $3 million, so we were able to have $4 million to give out free smoke alarms to people, to residents. We give out tens of thousands of smoke alarms. So we need to continue this education by having 5 safety prevention forums. So I had 4 last month. So those who have the Deutsch report, those who receive the Deutsch report, I had them throughout my district. This coming month, we're going to have another 4 events. And in fact, one is going to be by you, at your center, the Apner Center.
When?
Let me see. That's going to be February 19th. That's going to be the Apner Center.
February 19th.
February 15th. For those that receive a Deutsch report, you will get notifications. For those that don't receive my report, you could send me an email with your email address. Just state that you want to sign up for the Deutsch report. You will get all this information prior to these events. I have an event February 15th at Trump Village in Coney Island, February 19th in Brighton Beach with the Apner Center, February 21st at PS 193. Very important to attend. Not only will you be getting fire safety prevention tips, but you could also sign up with Red Cross, and once you sign up, they will come out to your house or apartment. They will go through all your rooms. They will install smoke detectors. You won't have to do a stitch of work. They will install it. It's all volunteers. They will install it throughout your house, whatever amount of smoke detectors you need.
Very effective.
So we already just did, I think, about 600-700 homes. We just, it's all complete already. So we want to continue this, and smoke alarms save lives are very important. Also, from now till April 15th, for my birthday, every single Sunday we're doing tax preparations. So if anyone's available, we're going to be doing it every single Sunday. It's going to be, what time, Tova?
12 to 6.
From 12 to 6, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Sunday. You call my office, you make an appointment, you come inside with your paperwork, and we have professionals who will do your taxes for you free of charge.
Councilman
no
Martrager
charge.
also was born on April 15th. Both of them decided.
Also, for those that your real estate property taxes that went up, right? How many here found their bills and found higher taxes besides the Judge Mostofsky? I'm sure you have more here. You got in the back over there. So I'm going to be having the Department of Finance. We're going to have a forum with the Department of Finance February 20th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Shorefront Y. So I encourage anyone, if you want to try to understand why you're being charged or you want to try to appeal it, okay, very important you come to this forum. I'm also working on getting the Department of Finance in my office from now till March 20th, at least once a week. So I'm trying to get them to come to my office.
And it's still under the old law, not in new tax reform. It's still under the old rules.
Yeah, it's under whatever the assessment.
For the last
anyway, I have a lot more to say, but I'm going to keep it short. Any questions? No?
You did something right.
Question. Last year, I believe you were councilman at the time, they had an issue about the plastic bags and the environment. That was overruled by the state legislature. Went to state, they just issued a report. Can you tell us what will be happening in the, as far as the environment and plastic bags? I mean, I'm not specifically limiting it to, one second, I'm not saying it has to be a tax, because I know there's a lot of opposition to the quote-unquote bag tax, but let's face it, there's a lot of these bags and they're ending up in trees, in the ocean. What's your suggestion on that?
I don't really see that many bags in the trees. I see more balloons in the trees than bags.
I see a lot of bags.
So I am totally opposed to this tax, to this bag tax.
Right.
And I know for myself that I have a closet and I recycle these bags. I stuff them in a closet, I use them, I take them to cleaners, and I see them using it over. So a lot of these bags are being used over. This flimsy CVS bag might end up in the tree. But when you have these good bags, they don't end up in the tree. And another thing is when you go shopping, especially if you have a large family and you order the stuff in boxes, they say order in the boxes. So now you're ordering in the boxes, right? Now you have a van, because you have to need it delivered. The van, the pollution, right? Double parking, the horn honking. If you're not home, they're not waiting for you. They're going to come back later. The traffic, the congestion. There's a lot more problems with the environment if they have this bag tax and people stop using taxes. But I encourage people all the time, if you can, use reusable bags. So if you're shopping a few items, you go into the store, you have a place, you room in your pocket to carry a couple of reusable bags, go ahead, do it, right? We could try to get you some reusable bags for free from the city. But I encourage people to do that. But if you can't, you cannot start charging a tax on that. And by the way, I'm going to be following around sanitation next week because they have these organics, right? And I was told these organics really don't go, that's not separate, they go with the regular trash. So I'm going to be following one of the sanitation trucks to see how it gets dumped. Because if it's a scam, it's a sham, we shouldn't be having to put out organics when it gets dumped with other trash. So that's another issue. But there's a lot of things that are good for the environment. Matter of fact, my scorecard was 100%, right? And with me being opposed to the bag tax, my environmental scoreboard is 100%, okay, on everything. So I want to protect the environment. I encourage people to protect the environment. What I will oppose, and I was the only council member, whether people like it or not, that testified at the Senate hearing against the bag tax. The only council member that testified against the bag tax at the Senate hearing. And I will continue to do so if I have to. So I apologize for that, but definitely use reusable bags, yes.
I just wanted to compliment you. I'm so glad I live in your district, because, at least for the last year, because the assessed value on my house went up by just a drop under 66% in 1 year. So I don't know who presses buttons in the city of New York.
So, yeah.
We're talking about assessed value. I'm not talking about the They said that I could have sold my house for X number of dollars last year, and it's went up by 60, just a drop under 66%.
So it's capped at about 6%.
No, you talk about tax, I understand.
Yeah.
And the tax, they already maxed out on my house. I'm talking about the assessed value once this 5 years is gone.